Chairman, I'm going to defer to Mr. Miller as our first questioner this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to continue where the Chairman was going, Mr. Gotbaum. Thank you very much for your service. Thank you very much for your candor on the issue of the United Airlines. You inherited this mess. It's almost a decade old, but I appreciate the tenacity with which you're going after it, and I hope that we will have good results for those employees that have missed the benefits of the proper appraisal of those assets. I wrote you a letter earlier, and I'm very concerned that we don't repeat some of the downside of United Airline. And American Airline obviously timed its filing and its pension contribution here together. So instead of paying $100 billion, they decided, $100 million, they decided they would pay 6.5. They'd pay 6% of what they owed under the plan. The question is, do you have the ability, or will you pursue the ability to go after that money in the bankruptcy court? I appreciate the rationale in bankruptcy court, why they did this. We all know why they did it. It was cleverly thought out. But are you going to pursue that additional $90 million that we're owed in that payment?
Yes, Mr. Miller, we are, but we're going to do it in two different ways. One is, the powers of PBGC are not infinite, but one thing that we can do is, when a company doesn't make a pension contribution that they're supposed to, is we can go outside the bankruptcy process and file liens against those parts of the company that aren't in bankruptcy.
You will pursue that?
Oh, we have already done so.
Thank you. The other question is, PBGC gave up its right in the United case to restore the pension should United become profitable. It's some obligation for the pension. I assume we're not going to give up that right. United is now profitable, and the taxpayers are still stuck, and the workers are still stuck. I assume that will not be given up in this effort without some negotiation or some benefit to the workers and to the taxpayers.
As I said, Mr. Miller, as you know, first thing we're going to try to do is see if we can keep those plans in place. If there is termination, the answer is yes. We are going to try to protect the interest of the retirees and of the PBGC, and that means being smart about getting the best recovery we can.
Well, the other lesson was that on the morning that the bankruptcy determination was made, the workers took their cuts, the taxpayers took the liability, and the executives of United Airlines all got bonuses for steering United Airlines through bankruptcy. I assume there will be some challenge. If that money is available for bonuses, it might be available to lower the burden on the taxpayers of this country and on the workers, who will lose a significant portion of their pensions should this happen, and should they be entitled only to those payments under PBGC.
Yes, Mr. Miller. One of the things I can tell you from personal experience, because I've been on the other side of the table from PBGC, is the folks at PBGC are active creditors. They believe in getting the best that we possibly can for our recovery to protect ourselves. And although nobody puts it quite that way, well, bankruptcy is about equity, and we go for justice.
I guess I'm a little bit suspect about how active they were in the United case, okay? And I think the taxpayers got screwed, and I think the workers got screwed, okay? So I'd just like to know that this PBGC, under your leadership, is going to be more active about conserving the taxpayer resources and conserving the workers' resources in this plan.
I
don't think United's the model for workers or taxpayers.
Mr. Miller, I hope that the actions of the PBGC over the last month have convinced you that the PBGC is going to be pretty.
I say that because you read here that this is going to be the largest pension default in the history of the country. This is an airline that is into us for, I believe, $1 billion for the change in interest rates that the Senate changed in the minimum wage bill. Minimum wage workers got 75 cents, and American Airlines got $1 billion in the same bill. So that $1 billion, I assume, is that beyond reach in the bankruptcy court? I mean, that's suggested that that's been the value of that change in interest rates.
Yes, what that is that over time, American got funding relief that enabled them to avoid putting $1 billion into their pension plans. $1 billion that would have increased benefits if the plans are terminated, et cetera.
And the fact is, they're about to offload $1 billion onto the taxpayers after getting $1 billion in relief. So they're into us for $2 billion. And so they scheduled the payments, and they got the Senate to change the amendment so that they could change their payments and their contributions to the pension plan, and then they scheduled their bankruptcy so they could minimize the payments. This is a hell of a deal. It's just not very good for taxpayers. It's not very good for workers. And we're really relying on you in this one. This is a test for other reasons of others that are falling. But if you can work it out, if you can get an early bailout and you can reschedule your payments, and then you can reschedule your payments in bankruptcy, there's 14 million homeowners that like to have the same shot at that deal. So you got a big load to carry. I have a lot of confidence in you, but these are tough adversaries.
Thank you, Ranking Member.